Hi everyone, and welcome to Leonora AstroTarot. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really happy to have you here. I'm really glad that you decided to click in my direction and spend a little time with me. But today we're doing kind of a sort of an energy check-in read for your person, whoever it is that you have on your mind, whoever it is that you're feeling connected to. We want to know if you're on their mind. We want to know where they're at with this currently. How they're feeling about your connection, basically. So yeah, obviously these are general readings, so they won't be for everyone. Just take what feels like it's meant for you, leave what doesn't resonate. You know best. Always exercise discernment in these general reads. But we have 5 piles today. Number 1 is the black Tourmaline. Number 2 is the Quartz. Number 3 is the Labradorite. Number 4 is the orange Calcite, and number 5 is the Amethyst. Just go with whatever pile is pinging your eye, right? Wherever you're drawn to. Of course, you're more than welcome to pick more than one pile, and then if there's more than one person in your mind, then sure. If you find that you're confused and your eyes are darting back and forth between the piles, I recommend sort of pausing and coming back later, perhaps when you're in a slightly different state of mind, and you might have a clearer response. But yeah, I'll leave you for a moment to pick your pile, and I will see you in your reading. Bye. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really am happy to have you. You picked this black Tourmaline, a very protective stone. And today we're going to do a reading, a sort of general energy check-in with your person. So whoever it is that you're feeling connected to, that's on your mind, we want to know if you are also on their mind, and if so, what are they thinking? Where are they currently at with this connection? Of course, pile 1, these are very, very general readings, so take only what feels like it's meant for you. You'll know what's meant for you. You know you, and you know your situation. So always exercise discernment with these general reads, and leave what feels like it isn't. It's obviously meant for somebody else, right? So we have everydayness here. We have the 8 of Wands. We have gifts. Gifts. Okay, sorry. We have the 9 of Pentacles. We have the Death card. We have the 4 of Cups. We have the 8 of Cups. We have the Kiss here, and in the rune deck, we have Hagalaz. I think it's Hagalaz. The runes, I've been working with the runes quite a bit. They are an ancient, sort of almost pagan-like system of communication and divination. So I'm not entirely sure of the pronunciations of each of them, but they're offering a little bit more detail here to the read, right? So let me just check my frame, check that you can see everything here. Pile 1. So let's start with everydayness. Well, this is a very peaceful card. There's a very peaceful energy that's coming through, although perhaps it is a little bit mundane, right? There's a little, it's a little prosaic. I think your person, pile 1, is a little bit stuck in, everyday routines right now, is sort of going through the motions, is perhaps feeling a little bit stuck and unsure of how to move forward, because that is, everydayness is followed by the 8 of Wands, which is a card of swift and decisive motion. So it's almost as if your person is sort of contemplating putting something into action. Getting themselves into gear, making some kind of move, but they're almost sort of feeling quite at peace where they are. There's mixed feelings with this everydayness, because it's almost like they've settled into a kind of routine which maybe is a little bit, maybe a little boring or just uneventful, or it's not sort of the way they want their life to look, but there's something quite comfortable and secure about it. And they also may have struggled to achieve this sense of calm. They may have had a lot of chaos, have to move on from a lot of chaos recently. So being in this place of tranquility and peace, and perhaps spending quite a bit of time in nature, is allowing them to kind of rebuild themselves, rebuild their just get into a sort of more positive and more optimistic and hopeful energy, because there definitely seems to be something that they want. They definitely seem to have their focus on, because if you see here, yeah, what's coming through to me is, I do believe, Pile 1, that you are on your person's mind, but there's a sense I think they have, or question about whether the both of you are looking in the same direction. For instance, if they may have been in this everydayness state and quite preoccupied and quite inactive for a period of time, I'm getting the sense that you're not really connecting with each other right now. So you're not really communicating. If you are, it's sort of at a minimum. But there's sort of an uncertainty about what each of you are doing, right? And what your everyday life is looking like. There's a big question around, daily routines. Your person may not know where you are and what you're doing, or just may not know a lot about those things. And it's creating doubt just in terms of how or if they could move this forward with you, because the Eight of Wands wants to move, right? It's a very active card. It often speaks to sort of putting messages out there and just or just movement, right? Traveling, taking action on things. But the way these two, it's like they're both kind of looking in different directions, and yet there's a kind of echo of them that meets in the middle. And I think that this is what your person is thinking about, right? Is perhaps you are in geographically very different locations, or psychologically you're just in different places. Perhaps you live close to each other, or you're physically close to each other, but you're just sort of you're currently on slightly different wavelengths, and your person just doesn't know what's up with you, and they're wondering whether your directions are ultimately going to come back together and align, and if it's possible. And I think they're contemplating this quite deeply in this everydayness. But there's almost a complacency here too, or fear of movement. I think they do want to move, but there's a lot of questions that are kind of getting in the way of that. And it's also an unwillingness to disrupt a kind of peace that they've managed to achieve. This is followed by the Gifts card. I think your person does fear missing an opportunity with you, Pile 1. I think whatever happened here, perhaps you sort of encountered each other briefly and this thing never got off the ground, or you circled each other, or perhaps you've had some false starts with this person. But I do think this person sees you as almost a blessing, that the fact that they cross paths with you is kind of, was a gift, that you were a gift to them. But whether or not they recognize this in the moment, I don't know. But they recognize it now. And they see you as being very strong, very independent, very free, but quite mysterious. I don't know why I'm getting mystery from the Nine of Pentacles, but there's something... I think this person questions whether you really need them. There's something about you that seems perhaps quite self-contained, like the Nine of Pentacles is this self-made person that has it all going on, really, and kind of doesn't need anyone else to come in and sort of support them, or is just very self-sufficient. I think this person questions whether you're on their mind at all. I think they perhaps perceive you as having multiple options, which you may or may not want to claim, whether they really have anything that they could offer you. Also with this gifts cards, like, do they have enough to offer you that you would sort of turn around, perhaps turn towards them and be like, consider them essentially as a plausible option for you. This Death card, I do think this has more to do with cycles your person has been stuck in recently, because I was feeling with this everyday card, it's almost like they've reached this place of tranquility that has been hard won, which is making them reluctant to risk that kind of newfound sense of comfort by putting themselves out there to attempt a reconnection here. But this Death card is telling me that there has been an important transformation here. This person is sort of at peace with certain things that they weren't maybe even a month ago, and they've been growing in interesting ways, and they're looking at life in a very different way. They're looking at themselves differently. They're looking at you differently. I do think some of them really fear that this is over currently. This is their current energy. I think, but I don't think that it's because they want it to be over or that they're not feeling this for you. I think what it is that whatever they have been going through, it may have taken them a long time to reach this point of peace. And they're feeling and they're wondering if it's taken them too long. That you're a missed opportunity, that you've moved on, that this isn't on your mind. Because we have the Four of Cups here and the Eight of Cups. So the Four of Cups is the Four of Cups does speak of a missed opportunity, right? It can be like something that's offered to you that you don't necessarily recognize as a gift, right? And I do think that this is weighing heavily on this person's mind, that they blew their shot with you, essentially. Maybe you don't feel that way. Pile 1, like maybe you would welcome this person coming into your life again and trying to reconnect, but they very, very much feel like they missed their shot with you, that you were kind of there and they weren't recognizing what an extraordinary gift you were. What a blessing, like how lucky they were almost to encounter you. And this is weighing heavily on their minds, and in fact they may for some time have become quite down about it or really beat themselves up about their complacency and their inability to see what life was offering them, which they feel was you. So and they do fear, this is also under the Eight of Wands here, that if they were to reach out to you now, that you may just be like they have no sense whether you're still thinking about them. So they would be like, well, why are you returning now? Like that happened so long ago. There may have been a pause with everything that's happened in the world. Perhaps you last encountered this person prior to COVID and everything, that it's COVID has warped our sense of time, so it might feel like something was just paused, but of course like a lot of time has passed now, and perhaps this is what this person is reckoning with, that is it just too late to fix this? Is it a missed opportunity that they just have to live with? I think that's what they're struggling with. And I do think that this sort of the lethargy and the kind of inaction of the Four of Cups is also a state that they're sort of in this everydayness. It's just so much easier for them to remain there than actually become active and put themselves out there, for fear of rejection from you, especially when they've had to they've struggled to feel more in balance, basically. So we have the Eight of Cups. Like I said, I do think you are strongly on this person's mind, but they really, really doubt whether that's mutual. Pile 1, if you are really into this person and you're not feeling the things they're feeling, like you're not feeling like they discarded you and sort of didn't recognize, if you're open to a reconnection, perhaps you're here that you're curious. I definitely feel like, I don't know, like if you had, it depends of course whether you and this person cross paths. It's strongly coming through to me like this person feels you've moved on, and maybe you are with someone else, or maybe that's an appearance that you're giving. I don't know, like whatever, there's something about you that there's an appearance, or this person is interpreting certain things, maybe it's social media, that you've just moved on with this Eight of Cups card, and it's leading them to think that they should really be moving on too at this point. However, it's not so simple. We have the Kiss here, which is a very romantic card, and we have this lovely kind of tender hand holding. I do think your person is holding out for this, like is still maintaining hope that there can be a reconnection. I do think you feature very strongly in this person's fantasies. Like they fantasize about you and them together. I just think currently they feel realistically like this is over. But they don't want it to be. Not with this kiss. And they clearly value you so highly and just see you so much as sort of, damn, I wish I had taken action sooner. When this person was still in my orbit, when it would have been easier. It may be challenging for this person to know how to reach out to you as well. maybe there isn't a direct route. Maybe you're not kind of connected on social media and things like that. It's just like there's not a simple way that this person feels that they can reconnect with you. But you are still very much in their thoughts and in their fantasies. They would if they, it's almost like, well, they would if they could, but they have this impression, Pile 1, that you sort of don't need them and that you've moved on, that this isn't really on your radar. For the rune, we have the Hagelas cards, which is sort of this kind of stormy card that speaks of unexpected change, and it's quite a chaotic card. I do think that this person, another reason why this person perhaps isn't putting more active effort into this, is that, they either have been in a sort of quite a state of chaos and have had a lot to deal with, and they're only just finding their feet again, finding a state of calm again. Or they may still be kind of in the midst of that. Like there may just be a lot of things that are moving around them. There may be quite a lot of conflict around them too, I'm feeling. Just a lot of things that are demanding their attention. There's quite a lot of hostility coming from this card. So, it maybe there's people in their life that are demanding things from them, and it's making them feel like they don't have the space really to take this chance with you. But it's like I feel like they would if they knew that you were open to it. So if this is something that you really are invested in, Pile 1, take this for whatever it's worth, really. Like I said, always exercise discernment here, but this is what I'm feeling. There does seem to be people around this person that are quite chaotic, there's quite a lot of conflict around that, but I think this person really doesn't want that. I think this person is very kind of focused on achieving a sense of peace and tranquility and harmony. And I think ideally they would like you to be a part of it, but they're not currently seeing the way that they could make that happen. I think that's all I have really for this, Pile 1. Do let me know if this resonated. Do like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. But yeah, leave me a comment if this feels like your story. Because it does. If this person, as much as deeply as they would like this to work out, I feel like they would if they could. If you gave them some kind of signal or some kind of green light, I do think that this person would sort of jump at the opportunity. But I don't know, maybe you're here out of curiosity, Pile 1, and it's not necessarily that you do want this to come together, or you're just wondering. But if it's more than that, then perhaps finding a way to give this person a little green light. Okay, so I'll leave it there. Thank you, Pile 1. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to reading for you again sometime. Bye. Pile 2, welcome. You picked the clear quartz. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be doing, obviously, a general reading, so take only what feels like it's meant for you. Always exercise discernment here. You know your own life. But we're going to be asking about whoever it is that you have on your mind, that you're feeling connected to. We want to know, are you on their mind? Where are they currently at with this? Just a sort of an energy check-in, really. So let's have a look what we have, Pile 2. We have the Queen of Cups here. We have individuation in reverse. We have phenomenon. And the Lovers. We have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Cups. Interesting. And the Six of Swords. Okay, so we also have the Starborn. Interesting. And from the rune deck we have Awaz. Okay. I'm newly working with the runes, so I'm not I'm not sure about the pronunciations. The runes are an ancient sort of divination system. They're rooted in sort of medieval culture, paganism in Europe, like Nordic mythology, things like that. So a very old ancient system of sending messages really and receiving information. But Pile 2, we do have the Queen of Cups coming through twice here in this reading. in the Serpentfire, she is Frida Kahlo. Maybe you are connected to Mexico in some way, or connected to art. And of course, the Queen of Cups is a very sensitive queen, a very creative queen, very in touch with her own emotions. What I'm feeling here is that your person, whoever you were asking about, Paltu, you are strongly on their mind to the point that they can think about little else. You are sort of the center of their thoughts orient around you. Everything else is pretty secondary. You are their focal point. They struggle, they struggle to think about anything but you. They see you as sort of their ideal person, basically. They see you as everything that they want, but they also see you, you're coming across here as the Queen of Cups. Of course, you don't have to be female. These are archetypes, of course. And the Queen of Cups is the sensitive cups. The cups are the realm of emotion. But there's something in particularly with the imagery of Frida Kahlo, who's very strong, very powerful woman. This person thinks you're very multifaceted, that you're very, very strong, very deeply strong, but very, very emotionally in tune. Like you know how to sort of handle your own emotions. There's just like this deep emotional strength with you that your person is so admires and just loves. Your person is sort of very googly-eyed about you and just sees you as sort of the pinnacle, really. Like, yeah, that they very much put you on a pedestal. I could really sink into this card for a long time, but let's move on a little bit to individuation. So this is in reverse, which means I think this person has really struggled with individuation, right? Becoming their own whole, full self, right? This person may have struggled with codependent patterns, whether that was in past relationships, with friendships and things like that. But I do think these are things that this person is recognizing and trying to get on top of. This person gets it in terms of they may have lost a chance with you in the past too. I think you may have, some of you, not all, may have a history with this person that, and you're currently separated from one another, and this person is recognizing and really acknowledging all of the factors that may have led to that separation and distance between you. Because they see you as everything that they want, everything that they could have ever wanted. So they're like, where did this go wrong? Where did this go so wrong? And this lack of individuation, of being able to see for themselves and think for themselves, like that has really affected your connection. Part 2, you may know exactly what I'm talking about here. Your person may have been very easily led astray by others, or your person just maybe was one to follow the crowd, or was quite impressionable, all of these things, but they're really recognizing it. Like they're really getting it, and they see you as the opposite. They see you as very strongly individuated, like very, very individual and very free-spirited, and very much you think for yourself. There is a little intimidation factor there by how strongly you do think for yourself. You may hold strong opinions, part 2, but how strongly individual you are is a little intimidating for your person, because they know that they haven't always been that way, or they've struggled to be that way, but they just do so admire and respect that about you. We have the phenomenon card here. Your person is been going through quite a few changes in recent times, I'm feeling, and it's like they're in tune with themselves, this individuation process, in ways that they never have been before, basically. And they're noticing things. It's like some of them may have been going through a kind of spiritual awakening of sorts, where they're just seeing things in their environment and in the world that they never have before, and they're sort of noticing the night sky. They're noticing different qualities in landscapes. They're perhaps spending a lot of time outdoors. They're just sort of, I get a lot of watching the sky. They may watch the sky and think about you, but there's also, some of them may be coming into more of their intuitive capacities, or their ability to just sort of read things with their, just read things intuitively, which I feel like for them is quite exciting and quite unusual. I do think it has a lot to do with you, pile 2, which you may be completely unaware of all of this that this person is going through, but they do connect it to you. This thing that they're going through, this sort of awakening. We have the Lovers card too. Yeah, it's like the more that they are opening, the more that they are individuating and tuning into what they feel and tuning out the noise of everyone else, right? Learning to see things through a more spiritual lens, the more deeply their feelings for you grow, the more they feel this deep love. I think that they perhaps, like, this is not a new connection. So whether this person is new to you, but you have more of a soul bond, right? That's deeply rooted, or whether you do have a real history here, or both, of course. It's like this person feels like they've kind of always had this deep love for you that they may have buried when they were failing to individuate, when they were seeing life in perhaps a more kind of simple or material way. But now they're growing in interesting ways, and their feelings for you are growing so deeply that it's sort of, it's like their world is oriented around you. You're the center of things for them. And it's interesting because I'm not feeling like this person is talking to you. Like, I'm not feeling necessarily that you have any clue about this, pile 2. We have the Starborn. Again, what I'm getting with this cracking egg, right? This person is really like awakening, or sort of, I want to say coming online, but it's a silly sort of phrase to use, right? They're really, really waking up to whatever this connection is and has been to them. Like, and it's enchanting. It's like colors are more vivid to them. There's a lot of purple here that's coming through, which is a color of the higher chakras. So it may be that they're having a kind of, I think is it the color of the crown chakra? It's their sort of third eye essentially is opening, and they may be experiencing a lot of intuitive information and insights, and this may be really new for them. I do feel like they're taking it in their stride. They're not completely overwhelmed by this. In fact, I think it's very magical, but I do think that they want to talk to you about it. I think they see you as very magical, and that you kind of, they think that you're probably, with this Queen of Cups, this Frida Kahlo, they're like, these things that are happening to them, they feel like you probably experience them all the time. Like, that's just a part of your reality, and you're just, yeah, of course. Like, if they came to you with some kind of weird experience they had, you would be like, well, sure. And they do very, very much want to talk to you and tell you about because they feel like, I do feel like this person with this individuation card has for a long time perhaps been surrounded by people that they weren't really connected to at a deep level. And they're recognizing that now, although I think they haven't for a long time recognized that. And for sure, it's like they feel like certain things they're thinking and feeling, that you're the only person that would understand this, that if they tried to explain these things to anyone else, that they wouldn't get them, but they think you would get them. So make of that what you will, pile 2. But yeah, we do have this quite violent Queen of Swords coming through. Yeah, I am feeling like... what I'm feeling here is this person may have had in the past quite challenging relationships, maybe more than one, or maybe you're aware of this, pile 2, I don't know. And while I think I do believe that this person has created a boundary, like this person is part of their past now. Maybe this person still has ways of sort of affecting them or getting in their energy or stuff like that, but I don't think there's an ending here. I think this card is telling me more about, I think this person wants to tell you so much. Yeah, I think for some of you there is a big history here, and they do want to tell you about their past. They're very afraid though, because of past difficult experiences. And look at the way this particular Queen of Swords wields her sword. And they know that as tender and sort of spiritual and loving as you are, that you're not to be messed with, that you don't suffer fools. And perhaps they have made a fool of themselves here. And I think they fear seeing your more violent side. I don't mean literally violent, but just your more sharp, more Queen of Swords side. And I think they're questioning too, they have fears about that and questioning, well, how swordsy can this Queen of Cups be? How tough on them will you be, essentially? However, this Queen of Swords is surrounded by these Queen of Cups. We have two Queen of Cups sort of on either side of her, so it's like they're analyzing your character a lot, Paul, too. That's what's coming through to me. They ultimately see you as this very loving, or someone that's very kind and very capable of being just compassionate and understanding, and they sort of want to get through to this side of you. You're so incredibly different to what they know, and what they have experienced in the past, and they're realizing, like, what were they doing in other connections with people that just aren't like them, and they feel really kindred with you. Like, they feel like you are sort of their perfect match, and that, but you have this edge to you too. There's just a lot of analysis. This whole thing was whether you were on their mind and sort of what they were thinking about, and it does seem like this is what they're very heavily thinking about. They're analyzing your character, Paul, too. They respect you enormously, admire you, they certainly have you on a pedestal. And it's like, on the surface, yes, you are this very emotional, compassionate, loving Queen of Cups, but you also have this strength and power. You are not to be messed with. I think they just have fears and wounds from past relationships, and they do not want to see them repeated. So they're, I think, trying to get on top of these fears they have about history repeating itself, and getting into another connection where they might be treated in quite kind of a brutal way. But they just don't, they think that that's not you, but they're also just scared, I think. They are scared. And also past relationships, I think, have really chipped away at their self-worth too. It may be more than one person, but there is one person sort of coming through to me that has really undermined your person's self-confidence and led them to believe that they're not sort of a worthy partner, or they wouldn't have stuff to offer. And although your person is able to recognize this person is actually quite abusive and wrong, it's still a voice in their head. There may be things that this person has said that are quite cruel and have got under the skin of your person, which is really sad, but they just see you as the polar opposite, really. You're like everything that this person is not, and they're just, they want your warmth, and it's like they just want to curl into your arms, but they acknowledge also that there's some history here and some conflict, and that may not be easy, that they may have to face some of your anger or your sharper side, really. So we have this Six of Wands here. Yeah, your person is moving away from a lot, and I was picking up on sort of being surrounded by people that they weren't necessarily connected to, and they are slowly moving on. They're kind of going their own way. They're truly individuating, but this is not an easy process. I think this person has been looking for support with moving on, perhaps from old relationships, and perhaps moving towards you, and is feeling quite unsupported in that, because I think there may be a past relationship that was very entwined, your person was very entwined with. It's like almost perhaps their life was merged with this other person's life, so a lot of their friends are merged, and it's difficult really for people around them to be unbiased because of this connection to this Queen of Swords. Sorry, I was hiccuping a bit there. Yeah. It's very heavy. It really affects their ability to, there's a lot of sadness. That it can be the case often with the Six of Swords, that you are moving to calmer waters, but it's not a pleasant travel. Like, it's hard. You're moving away from something painful, and you can't let it go overnight, right? There's the sadness to it. And I do feel like your person is having to let go of a lot in order to move towards you, which is, I definitely think, what they're planning to do. This is under the Lovers card. They want to move towards this energy. They can't pretend that they don't feel what they feel for you. And it's a very deep love. And there's no going back. But there's a lot of loss here. And yeah, it's coming from the fact that this person just surround themselves with people that aren't really like them. they now feel, and also because they may have had to move away from a past relationship which had really kind of sunk into every area of their life. So the runes, let me just check the definition here of Awaz, because this is kind of a mysterious card, and it has a heavy energy to it, right? This card speaks to accepting things, and perhaps accepting things that you would rather not to, right? Like having to make peace with difficult circumstances. Like I was saying, it's like there's all this very loving and sparkly energy over here in how they're feeling about you. But in order to move forward and pursue you, it's like it has posed a lot of challenges, and it's about more than one person. But there's this acceptance, this painful acceptance, I think, that this person is going through, that they're just going to have to leave behind so much if they want to move towards you. And maybe that's the mess they made. Maybe they set themselves up this way, that especially with bringing in, if this Queen of Swords character, they sort of, merge their lives together to such an extent that it was difficult for them to make, it has been difficult for them to make a clean break from that person. There is resentment here, and I think your person's also very aware of people around them judging them and thinking negatively about them. This is a heavy card. I do think there are perhaps mutual friends, co-workers, things like that just your person is aware of being perhaps gossiped about that's coming through, or just being seen in a negative light because of this. And it'll be different for each, and I can't really get into all the particulars here, but it does seem like your person has to go through a lot to reach this sense of calm and reach a place that they can reach out to you. Basically, that's what they're doing. That's their intention currently. But it's not easy. It's very messy, I feel like. But there's some pretty dark energy, or has been, around this person. Your person feels very harshly judged, or just like people are looking at them in a really cruel way. It's kind of not a nice feeling. I think that's why perhaps they're feeling so connected to you and so able to kind of tap into their individual self, because I think they do feel quite let down by people around them. I think I'm going to leave it at that. But an interesting read. If this did connect to you, please, do like, subscribe, and do leave me a comment if you feel like this is your story. I'd love to hear from you guys. But I hope this resonated, and I look forward to reading for you again. Pile 2, bye. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your read. You picked the Labradorite. Labradorite? It's Labradorite. I don't know why I find that challenging to say, but so welcome to your reading, Pile 3. Today we're asking all about your person's sort of current thoughts, feelings, whoever it is that you have on your mind. We want to know if you are on their mind, and just their general energy towards this connection. Of course, Pile 3, this is a very general read. Take only what feels like it's meant for you. You'll know what's meant for you and what resonates, and leave the rest behind. Always exercise discernment with these general reads. Okay, so we have simplicity in reverse. We have the 4 of Cups. We have combustion in reverse. We have the 7 of Wands. Interesting. We have, what do we have here? I think this is the Hermit, but I'm unsure with this deck. As I keep saying with this deck, it's the cards are unlabeled, so sometimes I have to guess. We have the Hierophant here, and this, I believe, is the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands. So we have the Eternal Child here, and in the rune deck we have Kano. Interesting. Let me just check the frame. I think you guys can see everything. Let me just pull that in. I'm pretty sure this is the Hermit. So simplicity in reverse. Okay. off the bat, what I'm getting here is that there's the situation between you and your person, pile 3, whoever it is that is on your mind that you're asking about here, has become very, very complicated, or at least they perceive it that way. Perhaps you also perceive it that way. Perhaps things started off quite simple, quite easy, quite harmonious. This person was easy for you to read, or maybe at the start you felt very in tune with this person, they felt very in tune with you, but something has changed and things are complicated. I do feel like a lot of you are sort of kind of separated from this person, and finding your way back to each other feels incredibly complicated. Things have come between you, I do think, pile 3, and they will look different for each of you. Yeah, it's like what was once very simple and easy has become incredibly complicated. There are all of these obstacles that would be in the way of you and your person coming together. And these things are heavily on this person's mind. And it's a kind of overwhelming, defeating feeling of, my goodness, I would have to jump through this hoop, I would have to change this, I would have to rearrange all of that, and it just feels overwhelming, and it perhaps isn't clear to your person currently what you're feeling. They may have reached out to you, or you may have reached out to them. I think your energy currently, pile 3, is very similar, because I am almost I can't tell the difference right now. It may be that you mutually are feeling the same things. Perhaps you've had sort of like a phone tag thing where one tried to reach out, the other didn't respond, and then it happens in reverse, that then it's the other person's turn. It's just like you can never connect at the right time, and you're both kind of overwhelmed by all of the things that have come between you, something like that. We have combustion in reverse. You may both feel, one or both may feel quite a lot of anger around circumstantial things that have blocked this connection, and there's a lot of unexpressed anger with this combustion card. You know, you or your person may be under quite a lot of pressure, quite restricted, things like this. But there's this thwarted passion also that I think you both have for each other. But this passion is not like it's trapped, like it's not able to grow, to live, to be, because there's all of these things in the way. And the 7 of Wands next to this combustion card is very interesting, of course, because the 7 of Wands is a warrior, and almost often, carries sort of in some decks like a kind of torch, right? A fiery torch, which we have this fire in the combustion card. There's defensiveness here. I think your person may feel like you are angry at them, that you're holding a grudge, that you might attack. If they tried to communicate with you more directly, that you might be very angry and aggressive with them. You may have a lot of unexpressed anger towards them, things like that. And I do think they're fearful, but they do want to push forward with this. I do strongly think that they want to just have a clear line of communication with you, pile 3. But they fear, almost like it's that kind of let sleeping dogs lie feeling. They're afraid if they reach out that they're going to kind of unleash anger, just chaos. And there's obviously so much has already come between you guys that this person, I think, feels quite paralyzed to know what to do at this point, and is feeling quite passive and is feeling quite defeated about this. We have the eternal child. Some of you may share a child with this person, but there's a sense that this connection wasn't allowed or didn't have the opportunity to grow or mature into what it could have been too. There's a lot of what could have been here. Like, it started off so pure, so full of potential, and things went very wrong somehow, and now those obstacles of you coming together are very, very extreme, that they feel insurmountable to your person. So it's like a lot of their focus is on what might have been, but also just like the start of something. They're thinking very heavily about the beginning that they had with you and how it never got to kind of come into what it could have been. There's a lot of focus on that, and a lot of, I could have done this, or I could have done that differently so that this didn't have to happen. But your person still feels like there is all this potential for you, that this potential could be recaptured, that you could build on this stuff, but it requires you kind of working together almost to remove the obstacles in the way. And they don't know whether you want to do that anymore, or whether you did anymore. Yeah, maybe you did, but they don't know whether you're still invested or would put the same effort in. I think they're very ready to put the effort in, although they may not know. You may have closed the door on this and they may not know what you're feeling with this, because they haven't been able to reach you, or they haven't had a clear line of communication. They are thinking very deeply, and some of them meditating on this. It is their want, their wish, Pile 3, to come back together with you. They spend a lot of time contemplating it. There's a lot of frustration, and there's a lot of anger in their life in general. To be honest, there's a lot of combustion. There's a lot of a great sense of injustice or frustration that this person experiences, and they're trying very hard to get on top of those emotions, because they don't want those kinds of feelings to get in the way of this potential reconnection between you. But they are very, very deeply working on themselves. I feel like this is something that you need to know, Pile 3. Because you may have really blocked this person off. That's what I'm feeling. For your own sense of, because perhaps you felt you needed to, and maybe that's right, Pile 3, maybe you're right about that. But I do think you should know that this person is doing a lot of inner work. And with this Hierophant card, they're very, whether or not you're aware of this or see them as someone with any kind of spiritual side, I do think this person has become more open to things like that, or has connected to, whether it's just spirituality in general, or whether there's a specific religion with the Hierophant. They may be educating themselves about things, spiritual concepts, religious concepts, as a way to guide them through a lot of the struggles they've been facing. And this may not be something that you know. They still have a lot of passion for you, Pile 3, and this desire, this strong desire to act. I was picking up on this in Pile 1 too, that it seemed like the person didn't know what you, the viewer, was feeling about them, and if they just had like a green light. I think that they would, run at that chance and really put a lot of effort into it, but the green light isn't there from you, or they're not registering it. So Pile 3 of this, you came to this reading asking what your person was feeling, and I do think that they don't know that you are invested in this anymore, what you feel about this anymore. They would be willing to put the work in if you were, but they're not getting that green light from you. I think they have waited for it. Some of you, some of them may have tried numerous times to reach out to you, or just, I don't know, but that they're feeling disheartened. They're feeling disappointed, and that they're also ashamed. I think they see you as their future, or they see that whatever they shared with you is sort of their way, is meaning for them, has given meaning to their life. The Eternal Child, I think they acknowledge that they haven't always behaved in a way that was adult and mature in relation to this. They haven't always done right by you. They acknowledge that, and they are really deeply reflecting on these things. Pile 3, if you have questions about this, then this person gets how they messed up, if they messed up in a big way, or they just didn't. At the beginning, like I said, there was something carefree and easy at the beginning, and then things got very complicated. Whatever that is for you, whatever it looks like, and this person just sort of wishes back in that carefree state, almost childlike. So some of you may have met when you were very young, or the beginning stages of this may have been when you were very young. You may still be very young, but it's like a lot has happened since then. Whether it's happened in a short space of time or not, or over many years, I don't know. But this person reflects so much on the beginning of this, so much on when it was simple, wishes they had done things differently, wishes they could return to that and build on that potential, but so desperately wishes that they had this chance to put things right with you, but don't know if you're open to it. Let me check about this Kano card. I just want to know, because the runes, I've been learning the runes from scratch, and yeah, this card is all about insight, clarity, illumination. If you had frustrations with this person in the past, for instance, like they just didn't get things, or they didn't take things seriously with this Eternal Child card, they get it now. They've come into greater wisdom, insight. Again, some of them may be really exploring their spirituality or finding a lot of strength and comfort through certain religious text or whatever it is. This may come as a surprise to you, but they get these things that they didn't before. I do think for some of you, if there's been distance between you, this person has grown a lot in the time since you've turned away. I suppose I'm just a reader on the internet here, and as I always say, exercise discernment and you know what's right for you, but it's very hard for me when I channel these things not to really, I feel people's energy so strongly, and your person, Pile 3, just really has me rooting for them. And perhaps, of course, I don't know all the nuance and all the details here. Maybe they really, really messed up. If they did really messed up, they know it, and they're also putting in a lot of effort. It's like this person is trying to respect your boundaries whilst also wanting to let you know that they want another chance, but they have been doing the inner work. They have been growing and maturing, but they have insight. They see where they went wrong. They see how they might have created complications here. They get it. And I don't think, if you've been through different cycles here with this person, and they've let you down, and you thought no more, then that's understandable, and you know why. It's up to you, Pile 3, to create those boundaries. But I do think this person gets it, and if they had another opportunity with you, would behave very differently. But again, I feel funny saying things like that, because obviously this is a general read, and you, right? But if you came here looking for insight and whether you're on this person's mind, then the answer is yes, very, very much. And this person would love an opportunity to put things right, but that's obviously up to you. And I'm not sure whether this person is planning to reach out for you, but I think if you gave them that green light, then they certainly would quite likely, take that chance and sort of basically prove themselves. It does seem like this person does need to prove themselves to you, but they do fear conflict, they fear your anger. But I think this card is so strong to me, this sort of very meditative, it's like he's in a kind of a steam room or something. I don't know if your person likes saunas and stuff like that, but when they're going about their life, they have certain rituals, and there are certain moments in which they really connect with your energy, and they really, really think very deeply about this. But I do think you are really on their mind so much, and I don't think they are entertaining other possibilities, if that's a question you have. I don't think so. No, they're very, very focused on you, and also on growing as a person, becoming their best self, basically, like just being the best version of themselves that they can be. I think I'm going to leave it there, but I hope this was helpful and resonated with some of you out there. I'm curious, if this is your story, because I feel like I've picked up on this storyline before. It's hard for me to remember where that was, because I've been doing so many readings. But do comment below if this is you, and like, subscribe, and all the usual stuff that helps build the channel. And I look forward to reading for you again next time. Thank you, Pile 3. Bye. Pile 4, welcome. You picked the orange calcite. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to do a reading all about what your person is currently sort of thinking, feeling, and just a general energy check-in on whoever is on your mind. So whoever that you have been connecting to, and you want to know where they're at, basically, where they're at with this connection. So obviously these are general reads, so not everything will apply. Just exercise discernment in terms of what is meant for you and what is maybe meant for someone else. You know your own life. Pile 4. We have improbability in reverse. We have the Tower. We have the Empress. In reverse, we have multiverse. Interesting. I was just talking about the multiverse recently. We have, oh, what is this? Oh my goodness. This card. You know what, this deck, I keep saying this deck is pretty new, and I also, it doesn't label which card is which. So I'm not actually sure what card that is. Maybe it'll come through to me, but I'm just going to read the general. I read energy, not cards, so it's just like, we'll see when we get there what that card has to say. We have the Magician, and we have the Six of Wands. We have the Dead End here, and in the runes we have Radho. Improbability. Interesting. This is interesting. This has, because improbability, right? Somebody is shooting for something. Let's say your person is shooting for you, or is hoping for you. It's all about, right, so with improbability in reverse, it's all about what seems unachievable becoming achievable, right? Being in reach. And the question's about what and what isn't a plausible goal. These may be things that are weighing very heavily on your person's mind currently, like whether something is actually possible. Can they make this happen with you, basically? There may be something about you, something about this connection, something about the dynamic between you guys that makes it seem to them like this is never gonna happen. Or can it? You know, this read is all about, are you on their mind? You know, what are their current thoughts about this? And I do think their thoughts in regard to you are very much occupied by, is this, like, can this actually be? Can I actually make this happen? Could this actually work in a real world sense? Like, am I actually able to achieve this? Or is it just kind of a pipe dream? Are you a pipe dream to them? This is interesting, an interesting kind of energy. Yeah. But yeah, so the question, that is the question that is sort of looming around this person in relation to this dynamic that they have with you. There's just something about it. Maybe you just feel very out of touch to them, out of their reach, out of their league. There's just something about it that seems like a dream that cannot be. Yeah. Let me just check this frame here. Yeah, so the Tower. It does seem like perhaps if this person chose to pursue you or chose to make this dream real, it could potentially cause some kind of disruption or chaos in their life, or it would disrupt some sense of stability or calm or peace in their life. They may have been coasting a little bit for a while. Pile 4, like they may have been playing it easy. Life may have been quite humdrum or just like without surprises for a while, and it's almost like if they brought in this your energy into their world, if they really opened it, it could create problems, it could create chaos, it could just it would create potential disruption. But this Tower card in the Serpentfire deck, it's not, I mean, there is a kind of building on here which has towers right at the top, but interestingly, the towers are in the sky. Which is making me think of castles in the sky. Weird. Yeah. Sorry, give me a moment here, because I know that there's something here, but sometimes the story, the story comes through to me immediately. Other times it's just like I'm struggling with how to interpret the energy. Like that's basically what readers do, right? It's energy that comes through to us, and then we have to kind of give it a meaningful narrative so that we can kind of convey it, right? Yeah, there's something about this, like building castles in the sky, and there's an element of risk here, this redness, but this person really wants this with you. There's passion here. But it's risky. It's like it could cause some kind of, it's not that it could cause problems. There's something about this person is sort of, has been coasting. There's just sort of like, it's not about conflict and drama. It's more of just risk, and just like it would change the stakes of something. I'm finding it hard to to interpret this, but it's so interesting, this energy. So we have the Empress in reverse here. Oh, it's Liz Taylor as Cleopatra. Yeah. Nice. Haven't seen this one before. Oops. Yeah. I think your person goes through moments. You can be male and female, what have you. I'm sort of almost reading this Empress in reverse energy as your person, actually, not being entirely in tune always with... This person is coasting, and it's like, yeah, perhaps they have everything they need and they feel good about their situation, and there's something about you that brings in this unpredictable, uncertain element that might compromise that. But there's also this great desire for you, and whatever it is that you have to offer, there's something about you. But this Empress in reverse is sort of telling me that there's this temptation to stay in the safe zone or the comfort zone, rather than sort of fully embody this very abundant energy and flowing energy and creativity and fertility that this person knows that they kind of want that energy in their life, and that you bring that kind of energy to them, of fertility and newness. The Empress is often pregnant, right? So there's the birth of something very new, but it's almost so new that this element of unpredictability is it's not intimidating. It's just like it just disrupts this kind of coasting thing that your person has going on. I don't know how else to interpret it, but it's like you, pile 4, you really open your person's mind to a kind of magic, and you may have had some interesting conversations with your person, or just interesting encounters that have really expanded this person's way of thinking. And maybe it's that they've been living quite a more conventional life than you have, or they were just like going through the motions, and like you sort of entered into their life before, and you sort of showed your person an entirely different way of being and thinking. You may be a very spiritual person and very inspired and very imaginative, things like that, and your person is like, whoa. like your person can't look away. Your person loves your energy and is just like, whoa. But it's very different from what they know. And this improbability, they almost like, it's almost questions of like, are you for real, or have I kind of like idealized you and put you on a kind of pedestal? It's something like that. But there's something about you that they can't resist and they can't turn away from, but it requires them to change almost and open up certain parts of themselves that they maybe haven't before. It's like your entire presence is a kind of invitation to them to sort of step up into a more interesting, more beautiful kind of world. But there's an element of risk to it, there's an element of uncertainty to it, and there is resistance with this Empress in reverse. But I don't think it's going to stay that way. I do think it's sort of, you have such a pull over your person, pile 4. You're obviously a very interesting sort of creature. You are very mysterious to your person. So this card here, there's just a heavy sense of unknown, a lack of clarity. Your person may be just like, is this person for real? Or maybe they have some kind of hidden side. There's almost a little bit of paranoia coming through to me here with this card. And we have the spider. The spider weaves a web. There's something about you that's just so fascinating to this person. A lot of you may be artists of some kind, writers, creative people that make things. And your person is really connected with whatever it is that you do, and they're fascinated by it, but also there's something so mysterious and strange about it that they don't understand. They're sort of looking at it and thinking, At times it makes them feel a little stupid that they don't necessarily understand. But you have a specific kind of intelligence that is uncommon. It's about more than being book smart, or it's that there's just something very, like, you have access to a higher kind of knowledge, pile 4, which is amazing. Your person is fascinated, but also has a lot of mixed feelings too. Like, they don't know what to make of you sometimes and make of the things that you do. And sometimes they just, it's sort of, sometimes they get a bit sort of overwhelmed and want to go back to their kind of coasting state of turning away from you in this connection, because it's so unlike what they know. However, we have the Magician card that is that's following this. You know, and the Magician is a creator. The Magician makes things happen, and your person can't deny that you have this power, and it stimulates a kind of power in them. You may have a creative connection with your person, an artistic, sort of a similar artistic sensibility or something. Because I do feel like in some ways your person would quite like to work with you. They are so interested in your work, whatever it is that you're doing. It inspires them, and it inspires them to think differently about what they're doing. And I strongly think a lot of them would like to work with you in some way, but they see themselves as much more almost practical or grounded than you. And they're wondering how you would work together, because they're very kind of by the book at times and very almost a little conventional, whereas you have this wildness about you. Your person may also want to kind of help you with your work, or maybe they have some kind of position. Maybe you've met in the workplace and they have some kind of ability to help you out with something that you're doing. It may be that they know you and have connected with you through your work, and they sort of see themselves as being almost more sort of conventional and kind of, by the book, and you're this kind of wild creature of the multiverse, and they're wondering how can they bring these two things together, because I would say that they recognize how impressive you are and how interesting you and your work is, but at the same time it sort of makes them reflect almost negatively on the things they've invested in on the part. Like it's led them to really question their approach. For instance, if they know you through your work, and maybe this isn't a romantic thing for you, Pal 4, maybe you had someone else on your mind that is more career related, or there's like a combination. So it's like love and work and career stuff that is mixed. But for some of you, this may actually be a work thing, and somebody that you're looking to collaborate with or something like this. So this person is sort of feeling like they find you so interesting and your work so interesting, but at the same time there's something very unconventional, unusual, and maybe slightly out there, like improbable about it. But it's leading them to rethink their approach in general to their own work. So the kind of things that they accepted as the norm before, there's this real thread of kind of the norm, the conventional path, and all of that this person is heavily thinking about, because there's something about you that is really inspiring them, as confusing as it can be at times, and at times making them feel a little bit like, am I not getting something, or almost making them question their own, not intelligence necessarily, but it's like I say, you have a different kind of intelligence, Pile 4, that this person is recognizing. And I do feel like to recognize something in someone else, there's a part of you that also kind of knows that thing, whatever that thing is that you're recognizing, right? If that makes sense. But it's like you've opened up so many questions for this person about the way they work and the way they live. But it's definitely not something that they can look away from, although we have this dead end card here. So it's almost like your person has been in this state of questioning where they have been very inactive, because like I said, it is sort of they're coasting, and they have this question about pursuing this with you because they fear taking risks. This dead end, I feel like this is less about a dead end with you, but about this thinking, they've thought this over to the extent that they can, and they keep sort of hitting a wall with it and not taking action, basically. And they keep going around in circles. And it's all about taking a risk on you and just how unusual you are, or this could be, basically. there may be something unusual about the way you approach partnerships or something like that, and this person has in the past been a little bit more conventional. You know, it'll be a different sort of thing for all of you. I know, because there's different threads that are coming up for me here. I think this person doesn't want to reach this dead end. And the improbability card is in reverse. So if it was upright, it would seem more like they were like, there's no point. This is never going to happen. This is a silly idea, right? I'm shooting for something that I can't reach. But it's in reverse, which is telling me that they're not so sure about that. That, you know, who knows? You know, maybe they will take a leap of faith here. I mean, we have the Six of Wands here, which is a card of achievement and victory and potential success. And I think this person very much recognizes, whether it's your work or a potential connection here, the possibility for success, because there's something about this multiverse thing that's just, they're so inspired, and they believe in you, in whatever you do, in something between you. Like, they do believe in it. Yeah, there is something here about kind of almost gathering support. So again, for those of you that this is work related, it's like gathering people on a team that could perhaps make this more likely to succeed. And I do think that there is a team there. So for those of you that if this is a collaboration thing, I do think you have support. You have support in more than one way, Pole 4. You have on the ground support if this is a work thing from people. Let's say if people are looking at your work, there's a team, or there's more than one people that are in your corner and thinks they can make something happen, right? But there is a risky element to it. But there's also something deeper coming through here that has to do almost with your soul team, or if you call them spirit guides, whoever they are, that are very invested in this particular situation being successful. So take what you will of that. But I do think you're very supported in whatever it is that you're doing, and people are invested in this, because you may feel quite unsure of what this person's thinking, feeling. You may feel quite confused. But you are very supported in more than one way, and there are people rooting for you and also recognizing you, that just recognize your skills, talent, intelligence, all of that. Let me just check out this Radomił card, because yeah, I am learning I'm learning the rune deck anew. This is sort of rooted in, if any of you guys know about Nordic mythology, you probably have heard of the runes, and usually you see them as little stones, but this is an amazing deck made by the same person that made the painted tarot. Her name is Sophie McKay, so you can check out all the information if you want to get these decks, I think on Etsy, but I absolutely love them. So Radomił, I don't know how to pronounce the runes, but like this speaks of perspective, and also there's something here with Radomił about learning and speech. So something almost like the throat chakra here. There's something about this that has to do with communication. It's like, yeah, when I'm saying risk, it's like there is a team of people that are on your way, on your side, but there also may be opposing views, just the way one person is upside down. Or it's almost like you know, what's coming through to me is that your person, whoever you are asking about, and I'm strongly feeling it in most cases it will be a work thing. There's something so unconventional about you, and your person thinks that something you do goes over other people's heads. Like, they just don't get it. It's like they're just not getting it. And I think the question that your person may have is, how many people will get it? How many people are going to connect with this, that it's possible to make the improbable probable, basically. Because your person gets it. Your person gets it. But they are dragging their heels. Like, we want this Empress card to be in reverse. We want this birthing energy to be ready to go, right? And I think, yeah, because once the Empress is sort of upright, perhaps there's some kind of comfort with risk here. whatever wants to bloom and come to fruition with the Empress's energy, it can. New, exciting things can happen. But with this dead end, there is a pause here. There is a hold up, and it's just, there can be different factors to it. But this energy is definitely leaning more towards progress and a coming together, because your person really believes in you. Your person can't look away. Your person is so interested in what you do and so interested in you that they can't, it's not something that they can drag their heels, but I don't think that they can move on and look away from this. So I don't know whether there's a time sensitive element here, whether you are moving on, whether you'll look for different opportunities or different people if this is romantic. But it's like this person is pausing just, I think, around fear of risk and less to do with not wanting or desiring or appreciating or valuing, respecting you. What an interesting read. I hope this did resonate with you, Pile 4. Do leave me a comment if it did. I'd love to hear from you. And I look forward to reading for you again in future. Bye. Hello, Pile 5, and welcome to your reading. You picked the Amethyst. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really am very happy to have you here. Today we're going to be doing a reading all about where your person, like whoever it is that you have on your mind, we want to know if you're on their mind also, and what it is that they're thinking about in relation to your connection, just like a general energy check-in about you and them, right? So obviously these are general reads, so take only what feels like it's yours, right? And leave what doesn't. Always exercise discernment in these reads. My intention is always to create guidance, to create clarity if you're feeling a bit confused about something, and also for you not to feel alone in whatever it is that you're going through, right? Because I think when we watch these reads, we can just feel like I'm other people are also going through some challenging stuff, right? So Pile 5, you have imperfection, you have the Hanged Man, the King of Cups, you have reflection, we have the Devil card, we have the High Priestess, and we have the World. We also have the Riddle, and in the runes we have Othala, I don't know. I'm learning the runes. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the runes. You may have heard of them if you're aware of sort of Nordic mythology and things like that. The runes are typically carved onto stones, but this is an amazing deck that I have by the same artist that made the Painted Tarot. All of the info will be in the description box below if you do like this deck. But Pile 5, let's get into this. Where is your person currently at with this connection? Well, with imperfection, I think your person is very well aware that something here has been broken, right? Something has been damaged somewhat. Of course, nothing is ever perfect, but perhaps I think your person almost perceives this connection that you shared, and you in some way, they perceive you as being very pure, and they perceive your connection, Pile 5, as being... It's like this connection that you have, it may have been immediate to both of you and difficult to understand, mysterious, very magnetic, and your person feels like it was a gift. It was this perfect gift, almost otherworldly gift, this connection they shared with you that they sort of damaged. You may have both, or you may feel that you also damaged it, Pile 5, but that's not what your person is thinking about. They're thinking about how they've damaged this connection. They took something perfect, really, something very pure, and they basically ripped holes in it. Of course, this card is a leaf, so there's nothing natural that doesn't also kind of erode and have imperfections to it. But this is all about how your person is perceiving this. It's like, can this be repaired? Is this the kind of damage that can be repaired? Or is this, has this thing been ruined it? And therefore, I do think that your person feels very responsible if this connection, if things went wrong here. There's obviously some kind of sort of separation situation here, so I do think that they feel very responsible, and they feel very with the Hanged Man. I love this card. How incredibly colourful is this Hanged Man? Wow. Oh, I like this card. I've never seen this one before on the Serpentfire deck. Yeah. Your person is going through so much. Your person, I mean, with the Hanged Man, it's often about a shift in perspective. We're looking at something from a different angle, right? Which is what I'm feeling more than more than pausing and waiting here. It has to do with your person's world has been turned upside down in recent times, and it's like they're suddenly seeing all this color that wasn't there before. They're seeing life in a really different way. So I don't know what has happened for your person and what exactly has been the trigger for all of this change, but it's like they're, and it's not overnight, but it has happened quickly, I feel. They're just sort of seeing the world through an entirely different lens, and they're seeing your connection very differently. And it may well be something that's happened between you that has created this intense change. But my God, it is really an intense change. It's like they were in a kind of black and white space, and now they're like, the world seemed simple to them, and things were clear and unambiguous, and now it's like all the lights have been switched on, all the colors are suddenly visible. They can see things new, and it's almost disorienting or disorientating depending on where you are. God, this card is amazing. But the King of Cups, and this person is feeling more connected to themselves and to their emotions, to their emotional body. I'm drawn here to these peacocks. Yeah, there's something very visionary about this experience that your person is going through. It's almost like, you know, with peacocks have that iridescence in their feathers, so it's like from one angle you see those colors, from a different angle it's slightly different colors. This is almost how your person is perceiving the world now, with this incredible sparkling iridescence, whereas before everything was very flat and, like I said, very monotone, black and white, and now it's like this iridescent, multicolored kind of glitter ball. It definitely seems a bit like a spiritual awakening situation, which I think also happened in pile 1 or 2, I forget. But there was another pile where someone, I think, had been going through a very spiritual, although that was also true, I think, in pile 3 to a degree, someone sort of going within and growing in that way. But yeah, this is leading to a very, very deep sense of reflection on the past, on past behavior that isn't easy for your person. Yeah, I'm seeing this thing on these patterns on this person's back almost as sort of wounds, and there's something like map-like about your person is reflecting on the route taken, which may have been a route away from you, pile 5. Again, there was something perfect here that was broken or damaged. They may have moved away from you in some way, or they may have turned their back on you. Yeah. So in turning their back on you, they were reflecting very deeply on this, on the whys of this. Why did they act this way? Why did they do this? But also, that I'm seeing these almost as scars too. The route they took was not a happy one. They've accrued a lot of, God, there's so much coming through. I want to say damage, and I hate referring to it in that way, but perhaps that's how your person is seeing. They've accrued a lot of wounds, and they see themselves as now being almost wounded or damaged because of a route that they took, which is a route away from you, that they, back whenever it was they first encountered you, they almost perceive themselves as more pure, as if they had a lot to give to you, but instead something went wrong here, and it will be different for all of you. And they took another road, and that ended up being a very painful one. And now they feel wounded, they feel damaged, and they feel like if they come back to you, the connection itself is broken. But also, they want to feel like this King of Cups. And I think when they're tuned into this, because there's two very different vibes I'm picking up on. That on the one hand, your person is feeling quite enlightened and awakened, and receptive to all the colour and magic of the world and all the iridescence of peacock feathers, but they're also aware of it took them a long time to get to where they are, and the route they took was a very painful one to get to you, and it involved turning their back on you at some point. But they have the scars. They have the scars to kind of. That's really sad. And there's the devil here, and I was almost seeing the way that this person's hair is here, which is very weird, right? Almost similar to the devil horns that we're moving into. I think this person feels as if they've made a lot of mistakes, and that they've behaved really badly at times, that they have really fed their shadow side, or they've just they've been for lack of a better word here, excuse my language, but they've been a bit of a dick at times. Like, they've done things that they really wish they hadn't, and they're really, really reflecting on that. Yeah, I mean, there's other people in this devil card, so it may be that they feel like they aligned with the wrong people, that they went along with what other people were doing, and it led them to just behave in really bad ways. And they feel like this devil energy has this connection beyond repair. Are you able to look beyond it? Are you able to forgive them? Are you able to see them, their King of Cups sides, through this devil energy? I think this devil energy is done with. I don't think that they're behaving in any kind of toxic ways now, but I think they have done, and they're fully acknowledging that they let themselves down in such a huge way. They've got all these scars this is there's a lot of shame, though. They're very ashamed of whatever it is that they've done with this devil card. Some of them may have also had some real struggles with substances or addiction that could have affected certain behaviors. Like, they were blind to certain behaviors because they were in that loop of addiction. I do think they are on top of these things now. Addiction is a complex issue, which I won't get into, and I have a lot of compassion for it. Toxic behavior, yeah. This person is on top of their toxic behavior. Addiction is definitely something that recovery is often a lifelong thing, but I do think this person is on the road to that. We have the riddle. It's almost like this person, and looking at this map too, sees this route, because they're looking at this map almost like they met you, something went wrong, they turned their back, they went in this other direction and ended up being a horrible direction, and now they're coming back around to you, and they're experiencing all this shine and enlightenment on the way. Something has woken them up to this connection to life in general. They're taking stock of their past behavior, and they almost see like this route taken like a maze. They got lost in this maze of life, really. And they see that this has all been a road towards you and to all of this energy. But my God, it's been a complicated road. And yeah, like a riddle. It's like for years they just didn't know, they just didn't get it. They didn't get this connection. They didn't get maybe why you were often on their mind, things like that. And it seems so obvious to them now why, that this was a very meaningful, perhaps the most meaningful connection of their life. And they got so lost, like the tangle of this riddle. And it's like, why couldn't they see it? I think that's why what they feel now, that they got so lost in other things that they couldn't see the one thing that really mattered to them, the one thing that was very pure and real. And they're just sort of kicking themselves that it took them so long, that they got so off course here. We do have the High Priestess here. This is a very heavy energy. I mean, look at her. Whoa. Look at her. My goodness, this is the Occulati deck. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, this person is really in touch with, and under these cards too, like with their spirituality, with their spiritual side, they may have completely lost touch with that when they were in this devil energy, when they were feeling a bit lost along the road. They veered off course. This person may be reading a lot and studying, in regards to, and just reading a lot in general, just broadening their mind, but specifically around spirituality. For some reason poetry was coming through to me. I don't know if any of you guys have a connection to poetry, but this person may be reading and learning about poetry, and And they're very sort of devoted to this, and they're very, very interested. And it's all of these things are feeding into these incredibly colourful cards. Like we have these two immensely like bright cards in the middle of this spread, and in the Occultati deck, like the major arcana all black and white. In the suits, in the minor arcana have colour, but it's interesting how this came out. We have all these majors, and then we have this brightness. This brightness, I think, is really representing where your person is at in terms of feeling kind of more awakened to their true self and perhaps their true purpose. And I think they're reading up a lot. With this world card, they're feeling more connected to the world in general, so to nature that's coming through to me. They may be having very vivid dreams. They may be sleeping better. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Your person may be sleeping better, and it's like a part of them is very much at peace lately, even though that they're clearly not yet made this action to put in the work of repair with you. But it's very, I feel like all of these things, like this reflection, this learning they're doing, it's all about preparing for that, I think. There might be an element of travel. They may wonder where in the world that you are, and this is like a map. They may wonder where you are. They also have no idea, Pole 5, where you are at in general with them. So how you are perceiving this connection, how you are perceiving them in general. And I do think this is something that consumes their thoughts a lot, because I don't think they have any idea. They feel like you have a very deep and meaningful connection, and that there's no way that you can't not know that. Like there's no way that this is, you're unaware of this. But at the same time, that you may perceive this connection as beyond repair. Like for you, it's like a spiritual connection and not a real world connection. That they fear you judge them harshly with this devil card, and you don't perceive them. You may have a sort of higher understanding of some way. They may perceive you as very spiritual, so you're able to look at them and have some kind of compassion, particularly if they did suffer with addiction. But at the same time, the way this has led to bad behavior, toxic behavior, your person can understand that you would turn your back on them ultimately. And you may have traveled, you may be far away from them physically. There's a back that's been turned, and they can't blame you, but they have no sense of what they mean to you at this point, and whether you would be open to a reconnection. And they really want to improve themselves and find a way to basically prove themselves to you that this is something worth investing in and repairing, and that they would be willing to do that repair. The riddle, they're not quite sure how to go about this. I don't know why they think reading might help. Like studying, they could study this as if there was a manual of how to reconnect with you. If there was, they would be studying it. But there's a real sense of study, and with the High Priestess, it's often, maybe they're reading self-help things, or just like, they're learning about spirituality, maybe reading poetry. They're reading a lot. Interesting. So we have Othala in the runes. So, this has to do with this is almost like kind of associated with the 4th house, and that it has to do with the home and with the past. It's quite nostalgic with history. You may have a very long history with this person. There's something that relates to family, although, the person on this card is alone, of course. This person may be very interested in family or in becoming a parent, and sees you as someone that they could co-parent with. There's that. But they also, what's coming through to me is that whatever happened to tear you two apart, like for this person to turn their back and take another road, you may have a very long history. You may have been quite young when you first encountered each other. This person had a certain image of you when you were young, when they were young, that they're now seeing as a false image. And the way that there's almost like, I'm perceiving this on her head like a flame. It's almost like they're burning that image, like they're removing this idea. They're acknowledging how much they perhaps had a misconception of you, like they saw you, they didn't see you for who you are, and they do now. My goodness, yes, they see you as very impressive and very magical, I think, now, because it's you that sort of connects them to this magical energy. This feels quite connected to pile 2, I think. Yeah. There's something about letting go of the past and past errors and just sort of like burning them, tossing them in a bonfire and just letting the past be the past. But there is a strong acknowledgement of errors, of things. They acknowledge their own poor behavior too. I think there's shame about it, but I could spend more time in this read, but these reads have been quite brief, so I think I'll leave it here, pile 5. I hope this was resonated with some of you, and I hope it provided some kind of clarity about where your person's at, basically. Do leave me a comment if this did feel like it was you, and like, subscribe, and all the usual stuff that helps grow the channel. And I look forward to reading for you in another time. Pile 5, bye.